you are thinking about trading wrong, right? If you're losing money every day, you're looking at your setups, you're trying to calculate statistical outcomes, you're doing the math, you're using more indicators, right? You're looking at news, you're starting in the wrong place, guys. And that's exactly where I started, right? I used to think that, just by being a mathematician or something like that, I could become a better trader. Trading is all about psychology. It's all about how we think. And as much as that sucks, that's a good thing, right? Because it means that we can focus less on becoming PhDs in math and having to know the exact probabilities of every single trade, even though that stuff is important. And instead, we can focus on something which is actually easier to control, right? From the standpoint of it being us, right? We're trying to control us. I'm trying to control me, master me. You're trying to control you and master you, right? Trading is all about understanding what your flaws are, what you're good at in terms of risk control, right? Bravery, courage. And what do I mean by that? Well, in order to frame all this up, I'm going to go through some of my notes from books I've been reading, knowledge, including Market Wizards, Trading in the Zone, and use those as the foundation, either just to get you to start thinking in a different way. But these concepts are critical to becoming a better trader, right? I did not start becoming consistently profitable until I focused on how I was thinking, right? It wasn't by, understanding pivot points better or anything like that, because there are infinite trades in the market, right? And if you're taking infinite at-bats and you're not cutting your losses quickly and holding your winners, you're gonna lose. So who am I? My name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. You should too. Let's get into it. The first one, this is a really simple one. Not gonna be anything crazy out there. All businesses have costs, right? You're paying your broker fees, you pay commissions, right? You're paying for the live data, right? These are all costs that we know and accept as traders just to even play the game, right? Costs that we don't consider as traders is the ante, right? And I'm actually mixing two concepts together here, right? If you've ever played poker, if you haven't played poker, I'll break it down for you, right? But to play a hand in poker, you have to pay a fee, right? You have to pay a fee to be dealt a hand, right? If you want to participate in the next round of cards being dealt, right? And I'm not going to explain poker, but there's a fee, right? And there's a minimum fee, right? There's actually two fees, but the point is that unless you pay that fee, right? Unless you're willing to accept that minimal loss and knowing that you might not even make a bet, right? You pay the fee, cards are dealt on the table, and maybe you just fold. Maybe you decide not to play. That's okay. That's a cost of doing business. It's exactly the same in trading, right? For you to see the outcome of a trade, you have to put a trade on. You have to put that minimum risk on, right? That could be maybe buying a call, right? You buy a call for $4, right? Or $400 net debit. You put that on, it immediately goes to a 10% loss. You cut it, right? That's not a bad trade. That's a good trade. It could have followed every single indicator that you had in your system, but the only way you get to see if it is going to be a profitable or unprofitable trade is by putting up that money first, right? That is the cost of doing business. Losing trades is the cost of business for a winning trader. Every single winning trader that I know, very successful, ones that I've met personally, ones I've met on the internet, and the ones that I've read about online, all have losing trades. Some of them even have large losing trades. It's just the name of the game, right? The math checks out. Ultimately, if you cut your losers quickly, right, and hold your runners, but that's besides the point. What is really important in this, guys, and I'm gonna say this again because it took me way too long to realize this myself. Like, write it down as a business cost. Get out a piece of paper, write down your cost of business, and just where you have your fees, write down losing trades, right? That is just a part of the activity. So many people attach their ego to every single trade, right? But you shouldn't be, right? You're just understanding like, oh, this looks like an opportunity, you take it, and as long as you win more than you lose, you make money, and you actually make a lot of money when you win more than you lose. The second question, or the point that I want to ask you related to this, and this is going to help you unattach your ego to those losing trades, is why does the market exist, right? The market only exists to allow people to take money from each other. That is it. There is not some grand scheme or agenda to, screw over retail or anything like that. Retail being traders like you and I. The market is simply a machine to allow people to take money from each other. Now, there are big players who are really good at taking money from the small guys, but you have to understand that while there are big sharks taking out small fish like you and I, there are bigger sharks and they're all eating each other, right? It truly is this really, really indifferent marketplace designed for there to be winners and losers, right? And you just have to figure out how to be a winner. It takes a lot of time. It's not easy, but anytime you feel yourself saying, the market is against me, the market is this. No, it isn't, right? If you would have made the exact opposite decisions or different decisions than what you did, you would have made money. You know that. It's a fact. You would have made money, but you didn't. You didn't because you were wrong, right? And that's okay, right? That's just the hard truth. The market isn't against you, right? You're not important enough. None of us are for the market to be against you directly. What happened is you were chasing price action or whatever else you were doing, right? So those are the first two. Those seem like different ideas, but they do go together, right? The more that you're able to unattach yourself from the individual outcome of every trade, losers and winners, right? A winning trade is, again, just part of the system, right? If I win 7 out of 10 trades, that means I'm losing 3. If I lose 3 trades in a row, I should expect the next 7 to be winners. That's how you think about it, right? All of that, those losers are part of the cost of business, right? That's just how it goes. And the market is not out to get me. I just have a system where I win 7 out of 10 shots that I take. This is a good one, right? So I said earlier that this is like just a stream of consciousness. This is something that's really poignant to me. The solutions are in your mind. I wrote the solutions are in my mind, not in the market. So what does that mean? A lot of what is wrong with your system isn't because you don't know enough about the market. Now, if you just started yesterday, there's some basics you need to know, right? You need to be able to understand the different types of candles, full body candle, dojis, shooting stars, yada, yada. That takes 30 minutes, right? If you don't know what any of that means, it literally takes 30 minutes to learn what those things are, right? Then you incorporate volume and price analysis to understand the strength of the candle. That's a few hours. What's gonna take you longer is understanding the minute by minute in the context of one candle adjacent to another, understanding the behavior of one stock, one index, one futures contracts versus another, right? But the solutions to all of that are in your mind. They're not in the marketplace, right? More analysis is not going to help you. What is going to help you is thinking about the way that you trade. And for every winner, for every trade that was a winner, but then you cut it too late and it actually went from green to red, understanding why you did that. For every trade where you thought, I should get out, but then you didn't and you held it too long, solving that, right? You're not going to become the best, most optimal, statistically sharpshooter, sniper trader. It's not going to happen, And if you feel like you are, maybe you're the one in a million. But if you're watching this video, you're probably not, right? And you don't need to be, right? You can make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars without having to do that, right? The mistake that we make, and the point that I'm getting at here is that trying to do that is the wrong path, right? What you need to do is control your behavior and maximize your winners, minimize your losses. Consistency is a form of expression, right? It isn't something that you do, it is something that you are, right? If you are inconsistent in an activity, it's because you are inconsistent. This is almost a cliche, but it's profoundly powerful, right? If you think about identity statements and the things that we do automatically, consistency really is just an expression of who we are, right? I dance 3, 4, 5 days a week because I identify as a dancer, right? If that ever changes and maybe I just identify as somebody who dances occasionally for fun, I might dance a lot less. But right now I identify as a dancer, and so I'm always compelled to go do that, right? I have this YouTube channel, right? So I come out, even though I got in 1 a.m. last night, and we're filming here, right? If you want to be a trader, when the market closes, you can't just shut it down. You can't just say, oh, that's it for the day. 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time hits, you need to be reviewing your trades. You need to be doing research. You need to be watching YouTube videos. You need to be reading, right? You need to be a trader. And if you treat it like a casino that's just open from 9:30 to 4, well, then you're going to get the outcomes of somebody who does that, right? Consistency, whether it's fitness, trading, whatever the heck it is, guys, is you expressing your desires. That's all it is. So you have to work through that identity statement to where your desire is strong enough to where it becomes automatic. I'm not going to go into habit building and all that in this video. Think about the concept. Consistency is a form of expression, right? It's not, you know, me being determined or having some crazy self-control or anything like that, right? It's not why I do all the things I do. I do it because that's who I am, right? You're doing the things you're doing because that's who you are. Change who you are. So let's talk about fear, guys. I know you've experienced it as a trader. I've experienced it. Fear, loss, anxiety, nervousness, right? All of these are things that we feel as traders, especially when we're new, right? First thing I would say is reduce your position size, right? You want to freak out buying a bag of Oreos, right? Your trades, every individual trade should be like buying a case of Oreos, right? Yeah, it's money spent. It sucks if you lose it. Maybe you buy the Oreos and then somebody immediately steals your Oreos, but it's not that big a deal ultimately. Now, if those Oreos doubled every day and your $5 every day turned into 10, that turns into a lot of money, right? Fear. If you experience or feel a struggle while trading, that is completely internal to you, right? It's in your mind. The market does not perceive or have an opinion about what it's providing. It just is. So a lot of times you're looking at your screen and it's like you're mentally zooming in, you're looking at all these lines and you're feeling this fear, you're feeling this anxiety. You're like, oh no, it's going against me. It's lost $200, it's lost $1,000. Oh crap, negative $1,500. Why is this happening to me? Why is the market doing this to me? The market isn't doing anything. You're doing this to yourself. All of those emotions that we're feeling in those moments are created by us. You don't have to feel those things, right? You could just lose the money and be like, and then do another trade, right? And ultimately, that's the point we have to get to, is being able to let go of the outcome of every individual trade, right? Understand that the market isn't doing anything, right? The very next point, if nothing is threatening, there's nothing to fear, right? If you're not afraid, then you do not need courage. I think I've talked about this in another video, right? So when you abandon all your emotions in the market, and I'm not emotionless, right? I get excited when I have huge wins. It still sucks when I lose. But in general, most trades, I can just trade, win or lose, and I'm just like, whatever, next trade. I'm like immediately looking for the next trade. I just cut it and go, right? You don't have to be brave. You don't have to be this sharpshooter who's willing to, like, I don't know, get into super high risk situations, right? Trading doesn't have to feel risky if you're not afraid, right? And it seems counterintuitive, right? But courage only exists in a state of fear, right? Standing up against a lion when you feel like that lion is going to kill you, that requires bravery. That's courage. Standing up against a lion when you're completely indifferent, when you know you can probably just kill the lion. Maybe you're Superman, right? In this made-up scenario that I'm thinking off the top of my head. You wouldn't be afraid. There's no courage involved, right? You need to approach the market like you're Superman, right? You just need to be completely indifferent, understand that good and bad will happen, and your job is to make a little bit more good than bad. I don't know if that analogy makes sense. It probably doesn't at all. But be emotionless, right? Anxiety, fear, especially probably the two biggest ones, nervousness, and even excitement. If you make a ton of money, I see it time and time again. People are like, holy crap, I made a ton of money. Immediately lose it all because they change their trading style because a switch just flipped in their brain now where they feel like they're invincible. You don't want to feel invincible. You're going to be indifferent. It's about identity. So this goes back into consistency that I talked about earlier, right? Once you've adopted an identity, right, people will assume that you have some crazy amount of discipline, right? And it becomes this self-reinforcing thing, right? I'm a dancer, I'm a trader, I do sales, right? I'm fit, whatever. All of these things are just identity statements for me. People that I know assume that I have some crazy regimented life. And my life is pretty regimented. I'm not gonna say that I don't work on these things, but in general, right, it's just me, again, expressing myself. This is just my life. This is who I am. So when I wake up and decide to do these things or go train 3 days a week or sit up at night, like reading trading books, reviewing my trades literally all the time. I'm always looking at the market. I'm always thinking about setups. I'm always thinking about, why did I miss this? Why didn't I see this? Could I see it next time? Is this just random price action? Is this a clear setup, right? Assuming everything that I know might be worthless. That's a really important one, right? Even if it's got me successful, maybe there is a different, better mental framework that I can adopt that will make me do better. And I'm not just talking about more knowledge. I'm not talking about reading more indicators. I'm talking about a mental framework for thinking about my trades. The devil's in the details. But I go through all those hoops. I jump through all those hoops because that is who I've decided to be, right? I literally feel mental friction when I'm out of sync with my identity, right? If I don't work out for 2 or 3 days, I feel out of sync with my identity, so I go to the gym. It doesn't have to do with, staying motivated or anything like that. I hardly ever want to work out. Well, that's not true. I like being at the gym. I don't like going to the gym, right? But as soon as I'm there, I know I'm gonna feel great. I'm gonna feel great after, right? So I go, and it's just part of who I am. If you want to be a successful trader, you have to identify as a successful trader, right? You have to say it out loud. And this applies to everything in life, but we're gonna stick to trading, guys. You have to adopt that identity and everything else will follow, right? Successful traders do not attach their ego to every single trade. They're not afraid of the outcome. They know the outcome, right? They know what their max risk is gonna be when they enter a trade, right? If I come in and I'm going for a 40-point win, I might have a 20-point stop, right? I predefine that. And if I get to 20 points, I sell. Successful traders don't put on more money than they're willing to lose in one trade, right? You don't YOLO you don't full port your entire portfolio, right? Winning traders don't do that. We know that, you know that, yet new traders do this all the time, guys. Do all these silly mistakes that they know does not sync up with being a successful trader, right? So adopt that identity and become the trader that you were always meant to be. Ultimately, guys, becoming a better trader does not come down to doing math, right? All of that is a part of trading. And there are traders, who are PhDs and they have these complex systems, but those systems have to be implemented by people who will follow the rules, right? How many times have you seen a signal to buy based off your system and then you didn't take it because you were afraid? How many times did a trade go into a loss and you said, yeah, I could cut this, but I just want to see this time. It's just 50 bucks. And then you lose 50 bucks. And then you do it again and you lose 50 bucks. And then you do it again and you lose 100 bucks, right? Systems have to be implemented and executed by people who will follow the system, regardless of what it is. Most of the time, just about any system will work, guys. If I have a system where I always go for 100 points, but then I see a 30-point setup and I take that trade, now I'm not following my system, right? You have to follow your system if you want to be a successful trader, guys. I hope that makes sense. My name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. You should too. Subscribe to my channel. Join the Discord. I post all my trades there every day, guys. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see what I'm up to in real life. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. I want the best for you in 2023. I'm gonna be hitting it hard. I hope you hit it hard. See ya. Peace.